The Canadian federal government use Palantir products? I'm interested in this question this week because I see what's unfolding in the UK, and I'm reading statements like Palantir technology is so heavily integrated into their defense and their national health systems that it's now impossible. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I'm reading, to unintegrate them. And that seems to me a really scary state for a sovereign country to be in, when you are no longer in control of the technologies that you use. Now, I admit, and I've said in previous videos, we can't build everything in-house. It's not possible. And I don't think a world where we're all trying to recreate the wheel in each individual country is the way to go. But the idea of making sure that the tools and technologies that you're using work for you, work with your values, with your legal system, with all the things you need them to work with, is super, super important. And I'm not the only person who gets these weird vibes off Palantir, that's not really what they're about when they're, founder Peter Thiel says things like freedom and democracy are incompatible, when their CEO talks about dominance and dominating the space. It comes across that it's not about using their technology in accordance with your values. It's using their technology in accordance with their values. And I'm not sure what those values are. They definitely give me IG Farben vibes. If you don't know, IG Farben was a company in Germany, a big conglomerate that did stuff, in the 30s and 40s that is pretty horrendous. And it demonstrates that relationship of corporation and state, and without any moral checks and balances, it got devastating there. So I worry, right? I worry that, I personally think that where I'm left is that you have to diversify. You can't just rely on one company. You shouldn't have one independent corporation running all your systems. And the good news is there's a lot of competition for Palantir. They're not the only show in town. There's big names on that list doing comparable services like Amazon and Microsoft, but there's also a lot of companies that maybe aren't household names who are definitely competing in that space. But back to the original question, does the federal government use Palantir products? Little bit of a spoiler, I couldn't find out much, but here's what I did learn. So I went to the PWGSC website, that's Public Works and Government Services Canada, and they maintain a searchable database of all contracts awarded over $10,000. So I did a search on Palantir, got 0 results. But to double check, I did some further research, and I did come across a press release from 2024 that said that Palantir partnered with this company called Carahsoft, Carahsoft. And Carahsoft is to become the sole distributor of Palantir platform licenses for Canadian government customers. I look up Carahsoft, and it seems to me like they're a government relations organization specializing in IT products. They have a list. It's easily 100 technology companies are on their list of products available. And I kind of get it. Government procurement is not the easiest system to navigate. And if you want to sell to the federal government as a technology company, you're worried about, your technology, that part of your business. You're not necessarily able to invest heavily in figuring out the Canadian government procurement process. So you partner with a company like Carahsoft. So I go back to the PWGSC website, and sure enough, Carahsoft is everywhere. There are 69 pages of multiple entries for Carahsoft contracts. Millions of our tax dollars are going to products, represented by this company. But unfortunately, when you click any specific one of them, it doesn't tell you which product in the Carahsoft offering that the contract was for. It just stops at Carahsoft. And as we all know, I thought about doing an ATIP, but if, like CSIS, CSC, Defense, Canada Border Services are using Palantir products, they're not going to release that information. That's going to be heavily redacted for national security reasons. So unfortunately, I couldn't find out much. But the question still stands. It's something I'm definitely going to keep an eye out going forward, because like I said, I think diversity is the only way to go. It looks like what's happening in the UK to be 100%, or maybe 90% reliant on one company, to the extent that you cannot make a choice to use a different company should circumstances change, is deeply problematic. Questions or comments, if you know anything more on this subject, I'd love to hear it, because it is hard to find information. Otherwise, as always, hope everyone's doing okay.